All right. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Brew, as I've now elected to call this, Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. I'm Hulk, and I'm here for you today with this. I don't know, I call it Rising Vodakhan. And it's probably the deck I've played the most on ladder these past weeks because it's just so much fun to play. I don't know if you've ever actually managed to assemble Vodakhan combo in game. And what I mean with Vodakhan combo, it's a combination of this card, Mystic Ascendant, and Martial Ironform, which essentially, if you draw a card when you have these three cards in play, you almost get to draw your entire deck. Your hand becomes full, you get 15 more power or something, and then from there, winning the game is usually laughably easy. I've tried. There's a combo shell for these cards. These three cards, they usually place a lot more of the one drop that gives you cards Echo, the 2/2 that lets you play 2 power a turn. More of a true combo shell. I tried that and was not happy about it. It was terrible. But then I kind of just tried adding one Vodakhan into kind of an Ikaria red list. This slowly, and then that kind of slowly morphed into this version. As you'll see here, this deck does not feature a lot of interaction. There are actually 0 silence cards in this deck. There's 4 torch, but apart from that, I'm not even playing any Vanquish right now. So it's a true combo list, but it's not the truest combo list featuring Vodakhan, I guess. And I haven't really seen people try to combine him with Rice, which I think is really powerful. So I figured I'd go through the cards from the start. It's we're playing 25 lands plus 7 ways to search for him. Find a way. I think if you have 3, you can count them as 4 sources because they give you 2. So 8, essentially the 8 plus 1, because we have 1 Amber Acolyte too. I'll get into why there's only one of those. So that's 32-ish power, which is sometimes feels to be on the low side. It's very important with this deck to have the 7th power to be able to play Mystic Ascendant. Like a lot of the time, all you want to draw is just a Sigil. I don't think the mana base. We want to be able to cast the Ikaria late, which is why we need to play a lot of seats or whatever. But I don't think the mana base really supports playing less duels than this. But a lot of the time, your perfect draw is just a random Sigil. So 4 Seek powers, they just kind of fix. And the best interaction with Seek power in this deck is if you have Vodakhan in play, this card actually becomes 0 mana draw card. Because you just destine the Sigil out into play, and that's really important. A lot of the time you can play him turn 8 and then just Seek to make this into more action. So they're not dead late game, which is kind of abnormal for Seek. It's usually not the way it works. 4 Torch, cheap interaction, really something this deck needs. If you want more, I think adding 2 Desert Marshals or something is not out of the question. In my experience, we want combo cards. We want cards to actually further our own game plan. We don't really want the silence, which is why I'm not playing any. Like everyone else, I started out with 4 Desert Marshals in this list, but it just turned out that it was better to focus on your own game plan and kind of forget the opponent. Awakened Student is mostly an early game blocker here. But he scales nicely, and in a deck that's so mana focused, this card sometimes is just an 11/11 that beats your opponent down. And if they don't answer him with Torch the first turn, he's safe from Torch, which is really important. Like if you can get him up to 4 against Stone Scar, he essentially becomes very hard to kill, and that's super important. So just get him up to a 4/4 in that matchup in any way you can. It's a great way to win. 3 Find a Way. I tried 4. I've tried 2. I think 3 is where you want to be. It's sometimes really good in the deck, but this card is very slow. Like when I started playing Eternal and saw this, I was like, this card is fucking incredible. It's so good. But then the more I play with it, it's just slightly too slow for the metagame a lot of the time. drawing depleted sigils is always where you want to be. Like you'd much rather have them. The good part about it though is even though they're depleted, they let you cast seats undepleted, so you can kind of win back some of that tempo that way. Then we have a single acolyte, and this is here. Actually, it's surprising, but this is here mostly as a rise target. The amount of times I rise for Amber Acolyte in this deck is a lot higher than you'd think. We have a lot of situations where, say you're on 7 mana, you have a Mystic Ascendant in play, you want to cast one, but you don't have any power. It's kind of important to be able to rise for Amber. That also gets you up to the crucial 8 and stuff like that. So yeah, one Amber Acolyte I think serves the list really well. I mean, there's certainly a case to be made for 2. I think maybe you could cut the Find a Way and play the second Amber Acolyte. 3 Seraphs. Surprisingly, not the best. I think he doesn't really do enough in the list. Like, you want to be more powerful than the 8 mana here, especially since it's such a die roll. He's still good in the list, but I don't think we necessarily need the 4. So that's the card I cut for the Amber Acolyte, because they kind of fill the same slot in the deck. And then the tech right here, 4 secret pages. Lets you cast turn 4 Harsh Rule, turn 4 Iron Thorn. And then just ramps you. Good with Ascendant because it draws a card. And I just think the deck wants secret pages. You can cut this for more interaction maybe and just be a little bit slower, and I don't think that would be impossible. But also, it's also kind of in the brewing nature of the deck. I think this card is slightly underplayed, so I want to kind of find a list for it. And this is where I ended up. A single Rune Hammer as a removal target for Rise. Just having this is important, and it's an okay draw just off the top too, especially against Stone Scar. Free Rise to the challenge. I'd say maybe 40% of the time this just gets Icaria and you win that way. It's really important to be able to have her in the list so that you can get Icaria here, but because in some matchups this is just you kind of win the game once you've done that. It's even if they kill Icaria or whatever, they usually puts them on the back foot enough where you can kind of scramble from there and just win the game. Then it gets Mystic Ascendant maybe 40% of the time too. That's the best card in the combo, like the one you want the most. Sometimes get Vodakhan, sometimes gets like I talked about, Amber Acolyte, sometimes gets Martial Iron Thorn, and helps you set up the combo. It does a lot of different stuff. 4 Sandstorm Titan just slows the opponent down, value for mana. Yeah, you all know this card, there's not much to say about it. Great Parliament. Recently cut one for the 4 something or other. There was a card I was playing 3 of that I'm now playing 4 of. I can't remember which one, but it's a really good card in the deck, but in some matchups the 4 mana play is slightly too weak. And being stuck with a bunch of them in your hand up until 8 mana is not always great, so I think 3 is the right number. 4 Harsh Rule, kind of have to be able to reset, and then the turn after that your plays are usually more powerful. Like if you turn 5 this or turn 4 this, then turn 5 play Iron Thorn, play a power, your plays will be so much more powerful than theirs after the Harsh Rule that you usually win if you get to cast a good rule. So I think it's probably the best card in the deck. Like all of the other stuff is what you want to do, but the reason we can do this at all is we get to play Harsh Rule. Martial Iron Thorn, one of my favorite cards. I didn't have a playset for the longest time, then I crafted them, and this card is just so much fun to play with. Oh, it's so fun. Getting mana just for free, it feels amazing. And of course the curve here is obvious. Makes Vodakhan bigger, and the ability, I usually find in Combre and stuff that you almost never get to activate the ability. In this deck the ability is actually not even a pipe dream at all. It comes up all the time, which is nice. Mystic Ascendant, not much to say. This card is great. It does exactly what you want. And then it's a part of the combo. Usually hold them until you have you can get to play the card first, but you should pull the trigger on turn 6 Mystic Ascendant more than you think. Is maybe the one thing I have to say about it. A lot of the time it's right. Then there are sometimes we want to hold it up until 9 so you can secret pages. There's a lot of different ways to play it. 1 Ikaria as a search target. I usually wouldn't like to draw it. And then 3 Vodakhan. I think 3 is the right number. We kind of want to draw them normally, but of course against big Combre, against people with a lot of silence, this card is sometimes laughable. But we have a lot of silence targets, so sometimes the first one dies, but then you stick the second one, and then from there the combo just kind of develops on it. And it's a fairly powerful card on its own. It gets you a lot of card advantage and attacks pretty well. So I think 3 is the right number. And then we just have a lot of power. So I hope you enjoy seeing some games with this deck. It'll be fun. I'm trying to do one of these today. We'll see how far I can keep that up. But I think this is really fun to do. Alright, so see you in the games. Peace.